Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of NXT Takeover 31, which took place at the Performance Center, which is now known as the Capitol Wrestling Center, named after the old Capitol Wrestling show, which predated the WWF back in the 50s. A nice tribute to Vince's grandfather, Jess McMahon, way back in the day. Anyways, this was the first show in this new venue. We had a mix of virtual fans as well as friends and family of talents that were at ringside. Nice mix of both. And for the longest time, I've been saying that WWE should have a mix of both. Like at the Thunderdome, have some fans there to make the actual noise, and then you have the people on the screens. I really liked the atmosphere for this takeover show, and I'm hopeful that if WWE stays at the Thunderdome, they will continue to do what NXT is doing and have the fans there virtually and also have the fans there at ringside in person. All right, let's go ahead and break down this pay-per-view. Shout out to everybody in the chat room watching this live right now. Our first match of the evening was for the North American Championship. We had Damian Priest defending his championship against Johnny Gargano. TJS sent in a $2 super chat, first one of the evening. He says, watching the show now, love the fence, arena is gritty. Yes, it definitely had its own unique look to it. It wasn't exactly the same as the Thunderdome, and yes, there was chain link fence along the plexiglass at ringside, and the fans were also put into pods. There were these barricades between each group of people, maybe about 100 people. It looked less than 100, but the word is around 100 people were there in attendance. Fans and basically friends and family as the fans instead of trainees. Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike B. He says, with all due respect to the other YouTube wrestling channels, Team No DQ had the best ones. What do you mean had? Like past tense? But thank you anyways, Mike B. I do appreciate it. I'm sure you mean present as well. Me too. And Jeff Meacham says we appreciate that. Michael Gonzalez thought that this presentation at NXT was better than the Thunderdome. Let me know what you guys think. Thunderdome, or do you think this was better? I think this is better. I just think it would be a nice idea to have a mix of actual fans there along with the Thunderdome crowd. You know, have 100 people or so that get tested every single show. They're not allowed access into the building unless they do one of those quick tests and are negative. You also do the health screening and everything and the mask wearing. Although one thing that some people were complaining about, you could notice fans during this show that were not wearing their masks. They were, but then they took off the masks. Some people were upset about that. Anyways, Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano. Priest had a strong start, but then Gargano took advantage by sending Priest off the apron to the floor and then sent him into the steel steps. Gargano doing whatever it takes to get the upper hand on the much larger Damian Priest, working over the leg of Priest. Priest did make a comeback, but his leg was hurting him during the match. Gargano countered a Razor's Edge attempt with a near fall, and then Priest missed a kick, and he was sent shoulder first into the ring post. This led to the two of them fighting on the outside of the ring, and Gargano would mock Priest's taunt at one point. Priest then was in the ring and went for a dive to Gargano on the outside. Gargano grabbed one of the security guards, and the other security guard went along with him. There were two guys. Both of them ended up getting wiped out by Priest. Gargano once again tried to take advantage of the situation. He hit a low blow when the referee wasn't looking, but Priest managed to kick out. Nice near fall here. I almost thought we were going to have a new champion crowned. Gargano put the Gargano escape on, and I got to give Priest a lot of credit. He acted like he was going to tap out, and I was almost convinced he was going to do it. So nice work, Priest. Good job selling the Gargano escape here. Priest did manage to get to the rope, and Priest countered the one final beat, hit the Reckoning, and scored the pinfall victory to retain his championship. Really strong opening match. Johnny Takeover continues his legacy. Awesome match between these guys. Mike B with a $2 super chat says, my apologies. I meant has ... Sorry. Not a problem, Mike B. And Caleb Jacobs with a $6.53 super chat. Thank you very much, Caleb. He says, I know no politics, but get well soon, Mr. President and First Lady Melania, and still running the country from quarantine. I will say my best wishes to Donald Trump. I do not want to see something bad happen to him. He is the president of the United States, and he's still a human being, whether you love him or hate him. You do not want to wish harm or wish suffering on people. I mean, he's not Adolf Hitler. I see people on Twitter acting like he's Hitler. But that's enough of the political talk. He's a human being. I do wish him well. And Curtis Butler says, stick to wrestling, Caleb. Karma hurts. Anyways, let's move on here. Our next match was the Velveteen Dream versus Kushida. And Dream came out dressed up like Doc Brown from Back to the Future because, of course, Kushida always comes out dressed up like Marty McFly. Crowd was firmly behind Kushida, as was the internet, Twitter. Poor Velveteen Dream. He is still the most hated guy in NXT right now. Even with the Doc Brown getup, people were still not digging the Dream. Dream came out for his entrance, and he was jumped by Kushida before the match even got going. Dream's music was still playing. Dream tried to chase after Kushida, but Kushida would outrun him and then gain the upper hand. Kushida outsmarting Dream, who was kind of like this hothead who could not keep his composure, which is fine because Dream is a heel. Match went back and forth for a while. Kushida worked over Dream's arm. He countered the Purple Rainmaker elbow drop with an armbar submission, which Dream managed to get out of, and then Dream did hit his Purple Rainmaker elbow drop, but could not make the cover right away. Kushida kicked out. Kushida then got the hoverboard lock on Dream. Dream tried to get to the ropes, but Kushida got him back into the center of the ring. Dream got up with Kushida on top of him, tried to hit the DVD, but Kushida got him back to the mat, kept the hold on, and Dream, at that point, had no choice but to tap out. Solid match here, and I'm not surprised at all that Kushida won. I did pick him, figuring while WWE is keeping Dream employed, or as an independent contractor, however you want to look at it, WWE is not going to be pushing Dream right now because the fans are still against the idea of him even having a job. After the match was over, Kushida attacked Dream and continued to work over the arm. I guess this was Kushida getting his extended payback on Dream. Some people thought this was a heel turn, although to a lot of people on the internet, it was not a heel turn. There's no way Kushida can be a heel, and there's really no way for Dream to be a babyface anytime soon. It's going to be tough for Dream. The fans are not letting this go. They are not forgiving Dream for this. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if WWE takes Dream off TV for a while. I mean, this certainly seemed like a way to write Dream out of storylines, Dream over, perhaps, as Tic Tat Tat points out. Next up, we had the Cruiserweight Championship match between Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Now, I did want to mention before the match, we had a promo for the October 28th edition of NXT, which I believe is going up against a pre-taped Dynamite. Dynamite has a couple of big shows coming up in the next 2 weeks, but I believe that one will be pre-taped. This October 20th NXT is going to be Halloween Havoc. Yes, they are in fact going to have an NXT Halloween Havoc. I thought they would do it as a pay-per-view, but hey, I'll take any Halloween Havoc. I hope we get the giant pumpkin or we get some kind of cool set. They did something really nice for the In Your House pay-per-view. And even Great American Bash had a nice setup. I'm hoping we get the same thing for Halloween Havoc. We got to have the big pumpkin. You cannot have Halloween Havoc without that big-ass pumpkin. So there you go. Halloween Havoc is back, and I'm all for it. Swerve Scott had a pretty hot start here, hit some of his high-risk maneuvers. He connected. Escobar tried to take a powder, tried to get away, escaped to the outside, but Scott kept on him, hit his big moonsault dive over the top. Scott worked over the arm. A lot of body part submission attempts during this show, like most of the matches had it, which to me got a little bit repetitive. That's why sometimes I'm all for different types of matches, like one match be a street fight, or you have a ladder match, or tables match, or some kind of different type of match. One negative about this show was that every match seemed to have this story where somebody's working over a body part and somebody's selling a body part. Like, it's good, but when every match has it, it becomes a little bit repetitive and boring. Just my opinion. And it really got old by the main event, but we'll talk about the main event here in a few minutes. Escobar managed to get to the rope to escape the submission. Escobar got the heat for a while. He started trash talking Scott, and Scott just got fired up from this. He got a second wind. Scott got a couple of near falls, and that's when Legado del Fantasma members Wild and Mendoza ran to the ring. Escobar got a near fall, and then we had Ashanti Adonis, who I'm not even familiar with, and I've been watching NXT. He ran down to the ring to even the odds. And then Scott hit the house call, went up to the top and hit the 450, but Escobar kicked out of it. Scott then got knocked into the exposed steel, although it really wasn't the best looking sequence. Escobar picked up the win to retain the championship. Really good match between these guys. It was very well done. Finish was a little bit flat, but overall, very strong match. Caleb Jacobs with a $3.40 super chat, getting me into trouble by bringing up politics, says, what's next, World War III or Spring Stampede? Well, World War III in real life, but as far as in the world of WWE, Spring Stampede maybe. I could see that happening next year. I'm not sure we'll get a World War III because I don't think WWE is going to do the 3-ring gimmick. And if you're not going to go with the whole 3-ring concept, then why even bother doing a pay-per-view or a TV show called World War III? I'm trying to think which other WCW names could go really well as an NXT show. Maybe Starrcade? in December, do an NXT Starrcade. That might be fun. Boy, Cody, how would Cody feel about that if they did NXT Starrcade? I wonder if he would be triggered by that. Next up, we had Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae for the NXT Women's Championship. And Shirai looked really good in the beginning. LeRae went to the outside to regroup. LeRae hit a backstabber, got the upper hand. She slowed the pace of the match down. Shirai made a comeback, hit the 619, followed by a missile dropkick. She got a near fall. Went back and forth for several minutes. They traded some submissions. Shirai got on a crossface, and then LeRae put on the Gargano escape. And then as Shirai was breaking out of it, LeRae accidentally hit the referee. Referee went down. Shirai went to the top for her moonsault, but Candice got her knees up, and Shirai bounced away onto the referee. So the referee got nailed again. This point of the match is when we had Johnny Gargano run down wearing a referee shirt. He made a fast count, but Shirai still kicked out. Why does this always happen? The heel referee gimmick always goes down this way. Why not just count 3 anyways? If Shirai kicks out, just count 3 anyways and have the referee signal for the bell and end the match. Although Gargano's not an official referee anyways, just because he's wearing the referee shirt. So kind of silly in my opinion. Wasn't really necessary, but I mean, this felt more like something we would see on the main roster. Hell, it kind of reminded me of when Bayley did the referee bit a couple months ago. So the actual referee was trying to get Gargano to leave, and Candice LeRae used the championship when the referee wasn't looking, hit Shirai in the face with it. However, Shirai kicked out, and I thought this was going to be the finish. So again, it was a good near fall. There were a couple really good ones on this show. Despite the outcomes of the matches being fairly predictable, there were a few moments where I thought, hey, maybe I'm going to be wrong on this one. Shirai then made a comeback, hit the Spanish Fly. She then connected with the moonsault and scored the 1-2-3 victory over a very game Candice LeRae. Good match here. Wasn't the biggest fan of the Johnny Gargano referee stuff, but really, really good match here between the ladies. And the women's division is hot in NXT. After the match was over, we had Toni Storm appear on the big screen. She announced that she is back in NXT. And then we had the mystery person who's been hyped up the past few weeks arrive in the motorcycle. This person came out to the staging area, and it was pretty clear wasn't a man. This person took off the helmet, and it was Ember Moon. Ember Moon, somebody I don't think anybody was predicting. It was being hyped up as a former champion, and Ember Moon was the NXT Women's Champion. Glad to see her back because there was some concern that she would not be wrestling anytime soon, and her injury was worse than expected. Very good to see her back, although I'd like to see her on the main roster. Good to see her back in NXT. NXT's women's division is loaded. That is definitely one area where NXT is stronger than AEW. The women's division in NXT is really strong. And the game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, NXT women's division is greater than an AEW women's division with Toni Storm from the UK and the return of Ember Moon. Glad She Moon is back in NXT. Absolutely agree with that. And Caleb Jacobs with a $5 super chat says, what about Hog Wild? Sorry about the political talk. Maybe down the line, Hog Wild, Road Wild. The thing is, if WWE cannot make a lot of money off of ticket sales, they're not going to do it. And WCW did not make any money as far as a live gate went. It's not going to happen anytime soon with COVID. But let's say 3-4 years down the line, unless they can charge people to come in, I don't think they're going to do that concept. Unlikely. But hey, I would like to see a spring stampede, maybe like with a spring break theme to it. So you could kind of take the Club La Vila from WCW Nitro and mix that with spring stampede and kind of come up with something cool. That might be fun. I would not mind an NXT spring breakout episode on the beach or at Club La Vila and have somebody go into the pool. But yeah, definitely in the COVID era, pretty much no chance of a Sturgis-style WWE event. Don't count on it. All right, and now we got the main event. Oh, and Jeff Meacham says regarding Ember Moon, she entered the arena without getting tested and walked straight to the arena. Shame on WWE. Good point there, Jeff. Good point. So we had Finn Balor defending the NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly. And before the match, Undisputed Era gave O'Reilly a big last-minute hug, wishing him well. Two of them exchanged holds on the mat. It was pretty slow, feeling out process, and as the match went on, it kicked into higher gear. O'Reilly used some Muay Thai offense to gain the upper hand. And then O'Reilly went after Balor's knee. Again, as I said earlier, pretty much every match had somebody working over the other person's body part, whether it was the knee or the arm. And by the last match, I'm like, all right, enough now. I've seen it several times in the same night. These guys worked really hard. And Kyle O'Reilly is a great worker. Awesome wrestler. But man, I really struggled to get into this because I never thought there was any chance of Kyle O'Reilly winning. And quite frankly, there was never a point in this match where I thought Balor was going to lose. They did some near falls during the match, and O'Reilly got a heel hook on, but I'm like, no chance Balor's tapping out. Keep in mind, we've seen Balor in there with the top WWE guys. We've seen him in there with Brock Lesnar. Like, if these two were having a real fight after seeing Balor hold his own with Brock Lesnar, I would say Balor beats him in 5 minutes. Kyle O'Reilly's a tag team wrestler. But they had this 30-minute match, and if O'Reilly was built up for a good 6 months, I mean, it's kind of like the Jinder Mahal Kofi Kingston thing where all of a sudden he's thrown into a world title match on pay-per-view, and it's just hard to buy into. When he's a mid-card level and all of a sudden he's fighting for the world title, it's a little tough to take seriously. But the match was awesome. If O'Reilly had been built up for 6 months before this match, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Still, really good stuff. Curtis Butler says one of the best matches I've seen this year. From a technical standpoint, it was up there for sure. It was a very well-worked wrestling match. And Asim with a $5 super chat says, this is for KOR, Kyle O'Reilly, the best wrestler in Undisputed Era, hands down, no contest. I loved the sight of bleeding Finn. I want more Finn versus Kyle. Both guys were bleeding hard way during this match. It looked like Balor's jaw got messed up and O'Reilly was bleeding from the mouth. And yeah, this went a good 25-30 minutes. There was one point where Balor was really selling the knee and O'Reilly kind of hesitated for a minute, and that was his mistake. That was his undoing. Balor, the veteran, took advantage of it and hit the coup de grace to retain the NXT Championship. And after the match, Balor was celebrating. He helped up O'Reilly to show the sportsmanship. But then, as the credits rolled up, we saw Ridge Holland at ringside carrying the lifeless body of Adam Cole over his shoulder. He dumped Cole to the floor, and then you had Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish run down to check on Cole, and that was the big cliffhanger to end the show. Nice cliffhanger, not the most epic one. I mean, it was no Tommaso Ciampa turning against Johnny Gargano moment, but it was a nice ending. And, you know, they're kind of overdoing it now with the credits rolling and then something else happened. It was cool the first couple of times they did it, but now it's kind of like you've done it numerous times, and it's kind of lost its specialness. Caleb Jacobs with a $2 super chat says, it would have made more sense for Strong versus Balor. Well, maybe Strong will get the opportunity. I mean, they're all great. All the Undisputed Era guys are great wrestlers, and I'm happy for Kyle O'Reilly. I just think that this could have been a TV main event. If they were going to do a pay-per-view main event, maybe build it up for 6 months. At least with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, they had the story. The story is really what made it interesting. I mean, nobody believed that Jey Uso was going to beat Roman Reigns, and I don't think anybody believes Jey is going to win at Hell in the Cell. But the story is so compelling that, you know, you're invested in it. With Kyle O'Reilly, it was difficult for me to get into it. Unless you're somebody that followed his career on the indies, you know, you might have been rooting for him, but it was tough for me personally. Curtis Butler with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, great match, 4 moons out of 5. Overall, NXT TakeOver was another very good show. As I expected, it did deliver. I think I would probably go with the opener as my favorite match. Gargano versus Damian Priest. I really enjoyed that one. Main event was really good. I mean, there was no bad match on the show. Women's match was good. Everything was very solid from start to finish. Probably the weakest match was the Dream match, but it was still a good match. So I'm going to give this show a B+. Not quite in the A range for me. I would not put it among the best takeovers of all time, but it was still a very entertaining 2.5 hours or so from WWE. Mike B gives the show an A-. CC Drink with a B+. Inzumasa We Trust with a B solid. Asim with an A-. Michael Gonzalez with a B. The Game Is On 100 A-. Steve Ross 2 with an A-. And Matt Helms and Tic Tat Tat also give it a B+. And LaShawn Davis with an A. And Israel Diaz with an A-. Vinny Carr with a B+. And Kev with a B+. So a lot of B+. I'm seeing some A's in there. NXT delivered again. Worth your time to check out if you never were thinking about watching the show. Maybe you should reconsider. And JM says B++, very close to an A-. That was NXT, everybody. I appreciate all you tuning in, checking out the video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and share it. Share. If you have a Facebook account, Twitter, if you go on Reddit, share a link to this video. Word of mouth is the best way you guys can help me out. So if you want to contribute and help build the No DQ Galaxy, just share this video. That's all you guys got to do. Thank you so much again. Take care, everybody. Be safe, stay positive, and I will see you guys next time.